Hey everybody, I'm Levi Wright. I'm the Assistant Director of Prospective Student Services here at OSUIT, and we're so glad that you all are joining us today. And we're here from the Air Conditioning and Refrigeration building, and we're going to take a live virtual tour of this program today. So like in the past, if you have any questions throughout this time, please put those in the comments so that we can get those answered while we're here. Even if you're watching this later on, go ahead and put those comments in, and we will get back to you with answers. We want to make sure to answer any questions you have and get you all the information relevant to this program and OSUIT as a whole. So as we go, we're going to introduce several instructors and see a lot of really neat stuff within this program. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Boyd King and let him introduce himself. Boyd?
Hi everybody, my name is Boyd King with the Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Department here at OSUIT. And we're very proud to be one of the two remaining original programs since 1946. The OSUIT was a land-grant college that started in 1946, and the Air Conditioning Department actually started having classes before air conditioning was even in many homes across the United States. And so we're going to take some time today to go around our department and look at some classes and some labs, meet the instructors, and answer any questions that you might have. I've been out here 22 years and very proud to say that I've had about 14 family members, nephews, nieces, brothers, sisters, brother-in-laws that's went through here and very passionate about our program. So we'll go start with the system applications class and meet Chris Lamb. This will be the first semester class that you would have here at OSUIT, and this is Mr. Chris Lamb, and he's going to talk to you about the systems applications class.
Hey, come on into my lab here. This class is called ACR System Applications, first semester class. So you come in here and we're going to learn what heat is, how to move heat. These are the basic principles of refrigeration. Once we get through a little bit of the theory in the classroom, we're actually going to come in here to the lab, and we're going to do some interesting things. We've got to put some pipes together. So if you see along the walls here, we've got lots of stations for soldering and brazing. We're going to learn how to connect copper piping. Once we get through that, I get all of the students on their own individual trainers, like this one here. This is a full refrigeration system. Approximately 1 ton of cooling is capable out of this box. I had it running and it's maintaining a box temperature currently about 40 degrees. You can take a look into the rest of our lab. We have many trainers, the different Brady Bunch of colors, and we have some other oxyacetylene rigs for welding. In here we're going to talk about the principles of refrigeration, all of the components that you saw there on the trainer, and as well as the controls that are involved. If I move this box out of the way, you can see 3 basic controls that you would see on any refrigeration system. Low pressure control, high pressure control, and a temperature control. After you've worked through your 30 to 36 lab jobs in this class, I'll have you ready for the next course in the program, which is going to be electrical control applications. And we'll go there now. I'm going to give you back to Mr. King, and he'll tell you a little bit about some electricity.
So welcome back. This would be the second semester that you would have in the air conditioning department. Maybe one of the most important classes, not downplaying any one of our classes, but electrical controls is maybe one of the most important aspects of air conditioning and refrigeration. We estimate that somewhere in the service world, somewhere around 80% of the service calls that technicians are going to go on are electrical related. And so this class right here, when we look around, you're going to see some boards and what we call trainers, troubleshooting trainers that students get to work on. And these boards, some of them have some age to them, and They were built in our program back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and we continue to upgrade them and continue to fix them as they may break. But electricity does not change, and we really try to lay down a solid foundation on the electrical controls, Ohm's law, things like that. One of the things that really sets this lab apart from other institutions is these boards and technicians and students having the ability to be able to use their meter, their voltmeters, their amp clamps to physically troubleshoot electrical problems. And so as we come into the lab here, I'll show you some of the troubleshooting boards and give you an example of what I'm talking about. So if we look at this trainer right here, we can see that we've taken basically a wiring diagram and have pasted it on the front of this board where students can interact, can hit switches, bring on loads, turn off loads, energize relays. That back behind the scenes, we actually have the actual electrical controls that's going on here. And the thing that sets these boards apart is this right here. Is every one of these boards in here have several toggle switches on the side. And each time an instructor comes over and hits a toggle switch, we've literally just caused a bug or a service call to be needed. And so if you look right here, there's 24 switches, and so there's literally 24 different service calls that a service technician would go on. And if you look around our lab, we have, I think, 47 troubleshooting boards, and each one of them has from 15 to 30 switches. We estimate somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 years worth of electrical service calls that students are going to go on in this lab. We get the question all the time from prospective students, man, I know nothing about electricity, and it kind of intimidates them a little bit. That's okay. We like that. In a lot of cases, it's better that you don't know anything about electricity, because that's what we do. We're going to teach you about electricity. We actually start students on a very simple trainer like this right here in book number 1, what we call it. And this is where students would learn how to wire very, very simple series circuits, and then parallel circuits, and then we start incorporating combination series parallel circuits. They learn some very, very crucial specialized circuits like lock-in circuits and chattering circuits that you will see out in the field, different type of impedance circuits and things like that. And so and like I said, we're doing this live, so if you have any questions during this, just make sure you pop up on there and we'll get them answered. We're going to go from this lab over into the electronic controls lab. Don't confuse it with electrical controls, but electronic controls lab, and meet back up with Chris over there, and he's going to do an experiment on electronic controls. I walk fast. Didn't mean to outrun you. Here's Chris Lamb.
All right, Ian. Step into our third semester lab. So far we visited the first semester lab, system applications, and we visited the second semester lab, which was electrical controls. We're going to take those principles learned in electrical controls with electromagnets and lots of things making noise, and we're going to apply those same principles to electronics. So in this course, we'll go through some basic electronic circuits, using diodes to build rectifier bridges, and doing some Wheatstone bridge resistance finding. And then after that, we're going to apply those principles onto our ECM blower motors, which are over here to my left. We have the line of Gentech ECM blower motors. We're going to talk about the application, installation, and troubleshooting of these high-tech motors. Once we get done with that, we're going to move into electronic control using PLC logic. So you can see over here on my right on the wall, I've got several PLC trainers, and I've set up a small demonstration for you so you can see what might happen if we apply the PLC. I have one regular old light switch here, and I've built a very simple program. And when I flip the switch, these lights are going to come on in sequence 1 second apart. So I'm going to flip the switch. There's the first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. And that is a very basic program. Our students will learn how to do that within the first week of applying these PLCs. And that wraps up this 3 credit hour class. So next, in the third semester, we're going to go to the residential heating and cooling lab. And if you'll follow me across the building, we'll get there. Or you can follow Mr. King since he's right here and he's going to talk to you about it.
Welcome back, and I promise we're going to get to meet some of the other instructors in a minute. But this is a really, really important transition time for our students going into third semester. For a fall semester student, this is going to be at the beginning of your summer semester, and we will go into residential air conditioning and heating. And it's usually set up in an 8-week format. So you're going to take 8 weeks of residential heating and cooling, and then you get to start making some money. This is a really, really important part of our program. We're going to, after the 8 weeks of residential, we're going to go on to internship. And part of your education is actually during that 8 weeks for you going out and finding a job. We talk to you and help you write a resume and give you opportunities, job opportunities to reach out to different companies and things to reach out to. We have somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 companies, and it's much bigger than that, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 companies that hire our interns regularly. So typically students finding an internship is not a problem at all. So let's go on into the residential and heating class, and I'll show you what's going on in there. A lot of our interns, we get asked a lot, well, what's a typical intern make? And $14 to $16 an hour is pretty common for our interns. And you know, a lot of VOTEC graduates around the state, they finishing a VOTEC program, that might be what they make for their career, you know, starting out. And so our students on internship have an opportunity of recapping between $8,000 and $10,000 of their total education on their internship. That's a really, really important aspect. So this is residential. So when people think about air conditioning and refrigeration, of course, this is what they think of because it's in everybody's homes. It is an important part of our program. It's an important part of our industry. But realistically, for our graduates, it's a moderate percentage of a place where our students actually go into work. So I'm going to say, you know, 50% of our graduates actually go into residential heating and cooling. It might be a little bit higher than that in the beginning, but students, it's such a wide range of different types of work that you can do in this industry. Having a degree in air conditioning and refrigeration, a lot of students find themselves going from residential into industrial, commercial, unitary, which we will see in a minute. But we have a lot of support from manufacturers, Trane, Lennox, Carrier, Aon and Tulsa, huge supporters of us. And so we have a lot of equipment to choose from, to work on. And this right here just happens to be one bank of 80% furnaces. Around the side we have a lot of 90% furnaces and several package units, things like that to choose from. And so from here, this is third semester, 8-week format. From here, we're actually going to go into commercial air conditioning, and we're going to get to meet Joey Boatner. You got a question yet?
We do have a question.
Okay.
Somebody asked, what is the benefit of doing this program and getting the degree versus going to a career tech or technology center?
Great question. I'm glad you asked that. So while we're in here, most VOTECs, actually this is, you know, I'm not knocking any VOTEC at all. A lot of the VOTECs, career techs around the state, actually the teachers are graduates from this program. But this would be a common lab that you would see in a career tech. A lot of residential equipment, and as we do the rest of our tour, you're going to see kind of what sets us apart. When you see the commercial refrigeration class, when you see the system controls class, the building management systems, and also the unitary refrigeration. So that's a great question. Really, the diversity is what sets us apart. The different types of equipment that you're going to get to see here compared to other institutions. So we'll go in here and look at commercial air conditioning. Meet Joey Boatner. Here's Joey Boatner. He's going to pick up with you and show you the commercial air conditioning class.
Hey guys, Joey Boatner here. Graduate of this program, 2004 actually I graduated, and I like to say that I made a big circle and just came right back where I started from. This is the commercial air conditioning lab. We actually use this lab for two things: commercial air conditioning, which is a 3 credit hour class, and we also use it for our heat pump class, and that'd be in our final semester, our 6th semester. So if we kind of scan along the outside wall and the other outside wall over there, basically these are all of our heat pumps, and like what Mr. King was saying, guys, we like to have everything from A to Z. So we've got just the basic girl, just the regular old heat pump, and then we got the 20 SEER with the inverter driven and the modulating this and just fancy pants that. We try to have everything from A to Z. So that's most of our heat pumps. Around the corner we've got more, and then like I said, everything in the middle is commercial air conditioning. One thing that I do like to show off a little bit is our Ray chiller. So Ray built this chiller just for us, and so this is typically a 50 to 150 ton chiller. They took that chiller, they squished it down, and it's something like 3 or 4 tons, but we still have all the same components, all the same controls, everything as the full-size chiller, but we just have the smaller footprint here, so we're able to do a lot more and fit a whole bunch more good stuff in here. And so let's work our way on this way. Again, everything from A to Z. We've got stuff that you'd see, a lot of rooftop equipment. We do economizers, pumps, start-stop stations, starter boxes. We'll get back into oil pressure safety controls, and a lot of rooftop equipment basically in commercial air conditioning here. We got the Daikin mini splits. One of the very few schools to have the Daikin mini splits to learn with and to train on. Pump tear down, all that good stuff. All right, let's take Mr. Davis out here. Mr. Lamb, I'm sorry.
Hey, back with me, Mr. Lamb here. We're going to make our way to Unitary Refrigeration, and it's a little bit of a hike. So on the way, I want to tell you the word unitary is frequently used in our industry to describe a piece of equipment that's kind of contained all in one box. And you'll see when we get to this lab exactly what I'm talking about. Mr. King is here. He teaches this course. It's a 4 credit hour course with a whole bunch of lab in it, and it is definitely an experience. You won't see a lab like this anywhere else in the country as far as I know of. Mr. King, are you here?
I'm here. Welcome back. So the question was asked earlier, what sets us apart from career techs around the state? Why go to OSUIT instead of career techs? Well, this lab right here is a great example of what sets us apart, is the diversity in our industry. Not knocking any of the other industries whatsoever, but I tell prospective students that there's really no other industry that I know of, technical industry, that has as many wide ranges of niches, types of work that you can do. This is the Unitary Lab, and Unitary, Mr. Lamb there, that it's small equipment, it's self-contained equipment. But you can see that this is ice makers. Not only ice makers, but slushy machines, ice cream machines, pretty much anything on the cold side in a restaurant. Hagar Restaurant Supply in Oklahoma City, Brooks Industries are some examples of some of the companies that hire graduates specifically to work on ice makers. It is a great, great field to work in. One of the things that I like to tell people is that you can grow old really quickly in commercial and industrial air conditioning, working on rooftops, 100-degree days, working down in basements and things on centrifugal chillers, really heavy work. But this is an example of a part of our industry where you can work a long time in this field. You're usually in a conditioned space, in kitchens and environments like that, getting to work on this. And another thing that sets it apart is the specialty in ice makers. They're not going to hire just a typical heat and air company to come out and work on a commercial ice maker, largely because of the expense of these type of ice makers. Hoshizaki, Manitowoc, Reynolds, Scotsman are some of the major brands that we have in here, and we're talking $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 on one piece of equipment. We have running right over here one of our newer pieces of equipment. This is a Hoshizaki Cuber. I'm sorry, not Cuber. This is a chunklet machine, and if you like sonic ice like I do, this is the newer type of ice maker that you would see in a sonic application. So kind of different. You might see in a career tech 1 or 2 ice makers, but not 30 like we have in here. So we're going to go from Unitary Refrigeration and meet back up. Our department that's very specialized, and here's Chris Lamb. He's going to tell you more about it.
Back to me again. How you guys doing? Come on in. This is the System Controls Lab. What we do here is we're going to take the principles of electronic controls that we learned in the class called electronic control, and we're going to apply that theory to HVAC equipment. So if I step right over here, you're going to be able to see one of the training stations that we have. Schneider Electric, a great industry partner, has helped us out by helping us build these trainers, and we apply the capability of these trainers in this lab. So for instance, we're going to talk about different control signals. One of those control signals is going to be a 0 to 10 volt analog control signal, which is very typical for something like an airside damper, or it could also be an actuating valve for a chiller application. And just to prove that I'm going to do some analog control here, I have this thing fixed at about 3 volts, and this is the output that you get at about 3 volts. But if I increase that voltage all the way up to 10, you're going to see that actuator move. Now these things do move really slowly. It might be hard to catch on the camera, but I've got it cranked up to almost 6 volts, and that should open it about halfway. Some other things that we're going to apply is actually programming these fancy PLCs that Schneider Electric has provided us into a full-on air handling system with a cooling and boiler plant. So a chiller and a boiler plant, and we're going to have control of different VAVs and valves using this equipment. For a lot of students, this lab can be a little bit intimidating at first, but I can promise you, as a student in this program, by the time you get here, you're going to be ready for it. Pretty exciting stuff. All right, so next up is the Commercial Refrigeration Lab. I'll take you and introduce you to Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis.
Yes. Well, come on in. Good morning. Matt Davis, 1994 graduate of this program. In fact, I've just celebrated my 19th year as an instructor. Had a lot of students come through here. They've been successful in the field as either top technicians, the owners of companies, several different things. But let's, if we can take a look around. We'll just start over here and maybe get a little side glance here at our parallel rack system. You find this often in grocery stores. You see the cases out in the store, and you're wondering, well, where's the mechanical room? It can be either back in the back of the store, up on top of the store, and what you'll have is 2 compressors that are running frozen food and medium temp off the same piece of equipment. So that is one thing, and that was donated by Ray Corporation out of Pryor. A lot of this equipment you see, we don't buy. A lot of our alumni, that in fact Ray Corporation is owned by an alumni from this program. And he has several of our graduates that work for him. A lot of this equipment is donated to us from different companies around Oklahoma, around Texas, and just people that are involved with our program. This also is the lab where we use the most different types of refrigerants. I don't know if you can see my refrigeration rack back there, but it's like a crayon box. I use about 6 different refrigerants in this one lab. And you just tend to find, and that's just a small percentage of what's out there. Hey, I'm old. When I was here, I just had to know 12, 22, and 502. Now, it's like a crayon box. There is so much refrigerant, and R22 is going away, so there's a lot of those replacements coming out. But we have several pieces of equipment. We have open cases. We have what we call unitary cases, like that silver case right there, which is really just a refrigerator, but everything is inside of it. Where the rack system, this large white case, they actually have a remote condenser, and the compressor is not inside the unit itself. Right behind you, if you even notice here, we have a walk-in, and I've got 2 condensing units sitting on top, because that's real world. You gotta get on that ladder, go up there and work. And I love it when the students say, Mr. Davis, just give me something. I say, okay. So I send them up there. There's one back there you can't even see. It's back. You got to crawl all the way back there on the top. I did that in the field. That's part of it. Being able to do that. And it's exciting work. Commercial refrigeration is another part of our industry. If you've noticed, we've gone around. We did residential heating and air. We did ice machines, ice cream machines. We did commercial air conditioning. We did building automation or system controls, commercial refrigeration. A lot of our students, when they leave here, if they go to a large city, they can specialize in what they want to do. If they love commercial refrigeration, they've got the great base right here to work on, and they can become a top refrigeration tech.
We do have a question since we're in here with all the refrigeration stuff. Somebody asked, why does your program include refrigeration while most other programs are only heating and air?
That's a great question. One reason is we're a university. When you leave here, you get an associate in applied science college degree. And our college degree means a lot. Around the country, you go apply, they see you're an OSU graduate from the air conditioning refrigeration department. 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, you get the interview. 9 times out of 10, you get the job. Because they know we go so in depth, we give you a little bit of everything of our industry, that you are such a strong technician. You have such a strong foundation to become the technician that they want. And several pieces of equipment. We have electronic valves, we have mechanical valves. We've been trying to put more electronic in here because that's the way our industry is going. Our electronic valves that are like on that rack system, they can be tied in to that system control system. And so someone at a computer can sit there and control that equipment or see what's going on in that grocery store from a computer, from a laptop, from a tablet, things like that. Some of the companies that have hired from our program, Commercial Refrigeration, Hinton Refrigeration out of OKC, Asher Refrigeration out of Tulsa, Harbor Refrigeration, which is east of McAllister, Hagar Restaurant Equipment, Ray Corporation out of Pryor, Brooks Industries out of Oklahoma City and Tulsa. And you see our students starting out about $45,000 to $50,000. A lot of times that's the base salary. We're starting to see companies giving a sign-on bonus for our students to come to work on them. They even give them incentive or cash to move to come work for them. They'll find them a place to live because the demand is so high. There are so many people retiring, and the trajectory is just up and up. We've got in our one theory room there's over 100 jobs on that one job board. There's always 100 jobs. So, hey, the sky's the limit. You like to work with your hands? You like to work with a computer? You like to work with tools? It's a lot of fun. If I had to leave here for some reason, I could go back into the industry, and I would do it. I don't know what I would do. Probably go work on ice machines, but I would enjoy it again because it is something that I like, something that I have a passion for. I lost my job at a factory. It closed down. The best thing that ever happened to me is I lost my job. I was able to come to school here. And hopefully you will come to school with us, because you're going to have a career path that's going to set you for the rest of your life. My degree here helped me get my other 2 degrees that I have. I wouldn't have them without my degree from OSU. If you would like, I have some various tools in our industry. Here's some gauges right here. Mechanical. But what I have here, let me push that. Digital set of gauges. This is a Sporlan service tool. Those are the pressure transducers, and these are the temperature probes. And instead of a mechanical set of gauges, you have the digital. Right here is a refrigeration scale to weigh your tanks, things like that, recovering or charging. A vacuum pump. Can we turn on the light with a micron gauge, so you're down to at least 500 microns, industry standards. This is a compressor analyzer for 5 ton or less of single-phase compressors. You can tell if it's gone to ground, if your windings are open. You can even start the compressor with this thing. Here's a recovery unit. This is standard. You have to recover refrigerant. You can't just dump it anymore. Those days are long gone. Here is a leak detector, modern leak detector. I did have it on, but it beeps a lot, so we left it off. This is your technician's friend right here. This is your volt, ohm, and amp meter. Without this, you're lost. And we have temperature probes, clamp on, and of course, my laser thermometer. And these are just a few of the tools that we use in our field. But come on, come to school with us, have fun. We have a lot of fun in these labs. Oh, that was my meter. Now, let's meet Mr. Boatner again.
Hey, one thing I forgot to mention, guys. Same time you're taking this class, you're taking commercial refrigeration, and you're taking the heat pump class. You'll also be taking a codes class, and so that's another class that I teach where we go through the code books cover to cover to prep our students for the Oklahoma Journeyman's Test. And so as long as you're eligible and you've got your time and everything, we're going to prep them. We're going to prep our students to pass their Oklahoma State Journeyman's Test. And that's going to be what makes the difference right there, guys. That's what's going to get you that $45,000-$50,000 a year, okay? And that's what we want. Jobs, oh my gosh, we got jobs galore. 100% job placement. Each student's got 5, 10, 12, whatever jobs to pick from. The jobs are there, guys. For sure, the jobs are there. It's been a good industry. It's been really good to me. It's been good to all of us. You know, I don't think any of us have anything negative to say about the industry. So it's been good. It's been really good. Any last words, anybody?
Yeah, I'd like to just thank everyone for tuning in and taking this tour along with us. It's always an awesome opportunity for us to get this information out there so that you know what opportunities are out there for you. If you ever had any questions for any of us faculty, you can go to the website, osuit.org/ACR, to find our contact information and give me a call. I'll answer your questions.
We do have a couple of questions. One is on the certifications and credentials that students receive through this program.
All right, so the whole program is to prepare you for a mechanical journeyman's license. That is a state issued through the Construction Industries Board. It is by examination, so we're going to have to study. We're going to help prepare you for that here. The pass rate for our graduates is higher than 95%, right, Mr. Boatner?
Yes, absolutely. And so, and we'll go through those code books cover to cover. We'll get everyone ready to take that test for sure.
Excellent. What about opportunities for women in this field or these fields?
Huge opportunity, huge. And we've had several female students. We've got 2 right now, as a matter of fact. So the opportunities, I think, are even more so for them, possibly, than for some of the others. So
Ask companies like Aon or Ray Corporation if they have opportunities for females. They're dying
Right.
to get some females in the industry. It just happens that females are kind of better at some tasks than men are, and they've got it figured out. So if there was questions about women in this industry, the answer is we need more. It's one of my personal goals to get more women in this industry through this program, certified and making money and making a name for themselves.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you to all of our instructors who took the time to come here today and share this information. Again, if you have any questions that you don't feel like were answered or you want to get asked, go ahead and put those in the comments. Even though we're wrapping up, we will still come back and check and look for those comments to get those questions answered. Again, thanks so much for joining us today. Make sure you follow the Friends of Pete on these social media platforms so that you can see the other programs coming out. Stay safe, stay true to you, and go Pokes.